Think back to the last time your family sat around the table for a game. Maybe it was some kind of card game, or maybe a board game that perhaps has been in a cupboard for several years. There's something special about those moments. No screens, no apps, just conversations, competitions, and connection. In a world where children spend so much time on the screen, these games, which are tangible, that we can touch with their dice and their little pieces, remind us that playing doesn't need a login. For generations, families and friends have gathered to play these games. And they have lasted because they do something very special. They spark joy and curiosity, they connect us, but they do something else behind the scene. They teach us mathematics. And through these games, your children can practice mathematical reasoning, problem solving, and skills. So if you're looking for a way to bring maths meaningfully into everyday life and in a fun way, this episode is for you. This podcast is called It Takes a Village, and my name is Gunilla Bengtsson. I've been a primary school educator for over 20 years. And as I mentioned, this episode is going to dig deep into how we can use, yes, this wonderfully old-fashioned way, board games and cards to practice maths. I'm going to share with you a few examples of games and explain what type of maths you're practicing through these. So first up is a classic, Snakes and Ladders. This game is perfect for younger kids, and in fact it's very sophisticated when it comes to practicing foundational maths. Every time they roll the dice, they have to match the number of dots on the die to the number on the game board, and that is teaching them number recognition. They're also learning that numbers come in a particular order. They're not just random, and that every time you move up, they increase in value. Also, when you're going up those ladders or going down the snakes, you're actually practicing increasing or decreasing in value, which is in fact the foundation for addition and subtraction. The second game I'm going to share with you is the card game Uno. I believe that Uno can be enjoyed at any age. When you play Uno, you have to match cards through either numbers or colors, and that requires you to classify and to recognize patterns. These are skills that form early algebraic thinking, the foundation for algebra. And of course, when you play it, you have to make strategic decisions and problem solve. Those things are required for mathematical reasoning. Another much loved game, which I'm sure all of you know about, is Monopoly. There are a variety of Monopoly games out there for all ages and preferences. And of course, when you play Monopoly, you're practicing value. You have to make strategic decisions. Am I going to spend my money and buy something, or am I going to save up? Monopoly also requires a banker. And I really encourage you to make your child a banker, because there's so many calculation opportunities in that role. Another game that's been around for a long time is Yahtzee. The recommended age for Yahtzee is 8 and above, but you can decide for yourself, you know your child. Yahtzee requires children to use multiplication, probability, and strategic thinking. They have to roll a set of dice and create a certain combination. It could be 3 of a kind, full house, and many other things. And through that, they have to take a chance. Should I give it another roll and try to get a higher score? Or should I play it safe? Now this is maths in action, making decisions based on probability. Another newer game that perhaps you haven't heard of is Fraction Formula. This game requires children to visualize fractions, to understand equivalency, and to estimate. Through this game, they are required to kind of pour fractions into a cylinder, aiming to create one whole without going over. This is a very hands-on game, which is really good because fractions is one of the more difficult math concepts for children to grasp. It's recommended for children age 8 and up. Maybe you have heard of the card game Sets. Sets requires you to practice pattern recognition and logical reasoning. So you have to collect 3 cards that either has something in common, all 3 of them, or are all different. This card game is not determined by luck. It's actually all about pattern recognition. And I'll tell you something, I know a number of adults who love playing this game. This is a game you might not have heard of, and that is Prime Climb. So players move around a very colorful playing board, and they are required to practice multiplication, division, and prime numbers. This game was actually invented by a mathematician, and it's fantastic to help kids understand things like factorization, multiples, while applying mental maths. I think you will enjoy it too. Of course, we also have to mention the traditional deck of cards. There are countless of games out there. Go Fish, Rummy, Snap, 21. Many of these require kids to practice automatic recall in terms of addition, subtraction, also using strategic thinking while playing and having fun with family and friends. So there you have it, 8 games that can bring math to life right at your dining table. My parent challenge to you this time is find some time to sit down and play. I guarantee that you are going to have lots of fun too. Until next time, bye for now.